Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Vet Blast podcast. With me this week is my good friend, Emily Dong. She is the founder of Snout ID and creator of Paw Print and has some very cool, exciting announcements to share with you guys today. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
Thank you so much. So to those that don't know, when I just said like Snout ID and Paw Print, tell us a little bit about each of those avenues.
Yeah, so we started Paw Print 5 years ago, born out of my own experience of not being able to access my dog's medical records and just needing them for everything, right? Not just the vet visit, but even just going to the borders. And so we started this app as a way for people to manage their information, and it became the #1 pet health app and still is today. And we've built a lot of great technology behind it so that you can access records from any vet. And we've seen records from over 13,000. So that's about 50% of them in the US. And then when COVID hit, we realized that, we had been experimenting in the vet space, but then we realized that there was really this huge need to improve their workflow because they were getting put under all these pressures with curbside and the record number of pet adoptions that are happening during quarantine. And so we kind of shifted our solution to help them manage all of those operations. And we've seen some great success with that and decided to fully focus on it.
I love it. So give me some examples that we can use. So me as a veterinarian, you as the pet parent, and how did that workflow come into play with the Paw Print and Snout ID?
Yeah, so the way I normally describe it is think about when you check in for a flight, which none of us are doing anymore, but back in the day, you don't go to the check-in counter anymore. You do everything on your phone, you get a text, and then you get your boarding pass on your phone as well. And that's what we're bringing to the vet industry. So when you have an appointment, we'll send you a link. You'll get to complete all your forms online from your own device. You don't need to do paper. You don't need to touch their iPad or anything like that. And then as a result, the veterinarian has everything digitally signed. Our team at Snout ID will actually get all your records. So if you've been to 3 or 4 other vets or specialists or what have you, we'll make sure that all of that context and that history is there so that when you show up, they have everything they need to just do the visit right away. And there's no waiting room time. There's no paper forms or anything like that.
I love that. And so if you're coming in to see me, and so we're doing curbside check-in, there is on the app, there is an ability for you and I to communicate with one another or with the receptionist, let's just say, for instance, correct?
Yeah. So every vet practice will get their own phone number as well. And so I can text you when I arrive. You'll see that there. You'll see it alongside all of my medical history and everything all in one place.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. And I like the fact that it's like touchless because, we're going towards that system, obviously, in this pandemic and trying to remain socially distant. And so, and this works well in complements with practices software systems.
Yeah, we integrate with all the major practice management systems. And, with a lot of our first customers, what we heard from them is they were actually starting to experiment with curbside even pre-pandemic, and all of their clients love it. And I know I personally love it, right? Because you don't want to be there, in the waiting room and all of that. So it's nice to be able to drop off your pet, know that they're going to get taken care of, be in communication with the vet, and then come back when they're ready.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the fact that it's kind of all in one, encompasses everything from the medical records to the vaccine records. And then also to invoicing a pet parent out too, which is a touchless system. So that's cool. Do you have happen to have like a demonstration or anything to show it with a screen to show to those that are not going to be listening, but you can head on over to our YouTube channel to watch the video. But Emily's just going to show us a little bit of information about what it looks like. So I think you just have to share your screen.
Right.
And there we go. Let's see.
Here we go. This is Mickey. Yeah, so here we can see, actually, if we start from this screen, so this will connect with the practice management system. You'll see all of your appointments here and what the pets are coming in for. So here's an example of a pet that hasn't checked in. It says check in now because we're still waiting for them. But if somebody has checked in, like what we saw with Mickey here, then you'll see that Mickey has a record at a different vet practice, and they did complete their check-in and questionnaire.
Tell
So
me a little bit about the questionnaire, by the way. The questionnaire. That's a
yeah, so
good
the
point.
questionnaire is this piece of it.
Okay.
And so what happens is once they complete all of their forms, one of the forms is all of those questions that you would normally have a tech ask. And today that's happening over the phone, and it's tying up all the phone lines, and people are asking all the same things. So we ask the basic questions of, do you have allergies? What kind of diet are you on? Do you need medication refills? Do you have any vomiting or diarrhea or changes in behavior? And this pet looks really healthy. There's nothing standing out, because if there was, then we would bold it or color it differently to draw your attention to that.
Love, nice, very nice. Okay,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then alongside that, you can see, oh, this pet was pregnant. You can see the previous hospitals they've been to. And from that hospital, we have all the vaccination dates. And you can see here, they're all green check marks, so they're up to date. But if any of them were expired, these would be red, or they would be yellow if they were coming due. And then you can see all of the medical history as well. We'll keep all of the originals, so you can see this came from the other hospital, and you don't lose any information by using our system.
gotcha. Oh, that's great. And then do they also get a printout of any reminders too? If they, does it integrate with their system in terms of like reminders in the mail versus on their app on the phone for
So the
vaccines?
pet owner does get a copy of everything before they come in, and that just helps to set expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times they come in and then you give them a quote for $400 and they don't expect that. But if they see something like this and all of these vaccines and labs, they're red, they know they needed a lot of services, right? So they can come in and
Yes.
know that, you know, there's a lot to be done here.
Yeah. And oops, sorry.
Busy man.
I know, I'm telling you. I do like the fact that you talked about the phone lines. This is a huge problem in veterinary medicine. Having worked and lived in the trenches of it, if there isn't a way in which we can free up the phone lines a little bit easier for the receptionist and the team, this is a way of doing it. You know, this is an excellent way of doing it, which is fantastic. And it's great for compliance too, because if you already know that they need a refill of a medication or whatnot, you can have that all ready to go by the time they all get checked in. So I think this is fantastic. So tell me about the launch today. Like what this is the official marriage of both. Yeah.
You're getting the very first scoop. You're our first stop. Yeah, so we launched a partnership with MWI. So right at the start of COVID, they recognized the need for something like this. So we were part of that launch with them. And this is our official, you know, coming out to the world with the solution. And yeah, we came out because there was such a strong need at the time, and things were not perfect, but people really needed it. So we got it out there, and today we're excited that it's, you know, very polished. We've added a lot of things that we've learned from the field that veterinarians really want. Like that questionnaire was an addition from some hospital we were working with. And we're just learning all of the things that, like you said, that they're doing over the phone, because now it's not just booking appointments on the phone. It's also taking the history. It's collecting the credit card. All of that happens over the phone. And we heard from some of our hospitals that they got 5 or 6 phone lines and they're still busy.
Yes.
And so, you know, this was a way for them to get rid of that. And also, you know, the thing that I'm most excited about is that our hospitals are actually seeing more appointments than they were before the pandemic. And we see a lot of hospitals having to scale back or even close because they need to run on smaller teams, or because doing the curbside takes up more time, and so they can't fit in as many appointments. And as a result, the hospitals that can run really efficiently, they're getting a lot of demand for business. And so it's so important for you to be able to streamline workflow so you can take advantage of this.
Thank you for mentioning that, because yeah, streamlining workflow is the #1 concern that is happening across the country during this pandemic. And if there's a way of us being more efficient and not only meeting but exceeding pet parent expectations, this is one way of doing that. So, thank you to you and your team for, creating this system, because it really is going to, I think, going to be a big game changer for a lot of practices that are struggling with their workflow, and also just improving compliance. I can begin to tell you how many times my technicians or myself as doctors, we sit through medical records, sifting through, just trying to find like the basic things. As a heartworm test up to date, and the vaccines,
Yeah.
are they vaccine reactors, or do they have a history of seizures? So being that you have that technology and that ability to put that in, that's really monumental.
Yeah, we've really seen it all. I think just last week we got a 150-page record.
Oh,
And we've seen, the ones that come in that are still from paper-based practices, it's chicken scratch, or you have the stickers for the vaccines. And in the cases where it's not very clear, our team will actually follow up with that practice and make sure we get the right dates for you. So we're very thorough in that. And everyone on our team is a vet tech. They have clinical experience, and on average 5 to 10 years. So they've all been in your shoes, and they know exactly what it's like to be running around and having to deal with records along the way.
I like that you mentioned that too. It's not a computer system that's picking up. It's literally somebody on your end that's going through and sifting through the records to make sure that there's compliant. You're not missing the L for December vaccine that includes leptospirosis versus not, because sometimes that could be, not missed or whatever. So it's good that you have, that kind of regulatory there. So where can we find more information about this?
On our website, snoutid.com. Or, if you guys are an MWI customer, we do have an offer with them, and you can talk to your rep about it. They're very knowledgeable.
Excellent. Emily Dong, thank you so much for being on the Vet Blast podcast.
Thanks, Adam. It was great to chat with you.
Always. And thank you to everybody for tuning in, and we will speak with you next week.